確かアスラ王国には秘蔵の美薬があったはずですわよね。結婚初日ぐらい野獣みたいなクリフに責められてみたいんですの。美薬で自分を制御できなくなったクリフを思うと
This is not okay. This needs to stop now.
What's good, anime enthusiasts? Welcome to another episode review for Mushoku Tensei Season 3. Now, this is all about Rudeus, his own, how he's living in his world with his family, his friends, all that good stuff. And it's nice, you know, it's simple, everything's happy, as at some point everything's cool and cordial. He gets to meet an old acquaintance, mix them things up, and I don't trust some of these things that are going on here. Especially you, Sylphie, and Julie. Something's odd about you as well. Anyway, JD, how you doing?
I was doing pretty good until you talked about my girl, Juliet. What are you saying over there, Mr. Soren?
We'll get there. We'll get there. I got something for her. It's not too crazy. I'm not gonna shoot her yet, but she might already been shot. Not by me.
Ooh, those are some heavy words. Besides that, man, it's been a pretty chill summer. Can't believe it's ending, man. Fall's coming soon. I don't know if anybody in this demographic specifically goes to school, does college, but wishing y'all luck in the coming season, all that jazz.
Yeah, I know another person who's writing their thesis and they gotta make their presentation in defense. I'm like, good luck with that. I know I'm glad I didn't have to do one myself, but trying to defend against already established people is crazy enough.
No, definitely. I remember back when I took philosophy classes, it was always strange to me. They said, please address the person you were talking about as if they were alive, even though all the philosophers were long since dead. Right.
It's like
I couldn't imagine if they were coming back.
I'm pretty sure they would see everything in the world that's going on. It's like, this is blasphemy. I can't believe all of this is happening. And then someone will be like, yeah, I call that. But speaking of, thank you for all of you for commenting on the previous video. I see y'all in the comments, especially you, Arky, helping us out once again with battle aura, things of that nature, explaining how these sword techniques are coming into fruition and how Orts is just powerful, and the rest of you also giving in your 2 cents as well. Looking at you, oh god, your name, Christopher. Yeah, Christopher. I can't read. Nice to hear that the author is going to be helping out on some of the important bits later, so I'm excited to see some one-to-one light novel stuff. Dang, you don't care about what our commenters are saying? Okay, now I hear you. I see you, JD.
No, I don't. Actually, no, JK. I'm definitely glad to have some more insight on the battle order, because I erroneously and then not erroneously said Eris is using battle aura during some of these things. So, like, the difference between malice and battle aura being made a little bit more clear. I'm hoping they maybe show some sort of distinction in the later anime, because we know we're going to get a lot of Eris. I feel like the writing's all over the walls in these coming episodes. But yeah, keep the details coming, and I'll be sure to try, quote unquote, to study up.
Yeah, you know, I hate to bring this up. The way that battle aura presented is very subtle, which I guess is okay. But we need like a visual representation on how these characters are this superhumanly strong to the point to where a sword isn't gonna cut through somebody. We gotta have like something. And let's take a little detour. Let's take One Piece for an example. They have their own, for lack of a better, I hate to say it, own battle aura called Haki. Now, Haki is, if I was to like explain it very like in a layman's terms, Haki is literally, you would take like your own aura, or in a sense like your own willpower, to then power yourself up in different means. There's observation Haki, which means you are so well in tuned with your awareness and surroundings that you are sometimes able to predict the future. A lot of characters can do that. there's armament hockey, where where they show it, where you encase your hands or even your weapons in this like iron metallic like material, but it's not really so. You are literally just really enhancing your physical capabilities, to which it shows, wow, that dude has a really big iron fist. It's not really iron, but he is projecting his aura into his fist or their weapons in order to really damage it, to not only deal more damage, but also damage certain devil type users called Logia users, because Logia users are pretty much elementals. You can't really damage them with normal conventional means. Therefore, you need armament hockey in order to actually deal with them appropriately, or unless you find some kind of like weakness to their like Logia type. For instance, Crocodile, he has the sand fruit. He's basically sand. You can't really damage him with sand unless you drench him with water, which means then he's more physical. That means you can damage him. And then finally, you have Conqueror's Hockey, which is only given to those, or not given to those who have Conqueror's Hockey have a lot. They're like the leaders. They are like the most important characters. And with their Conqueror's Hockey, when they show it off, anybody else who's like not strong of will or all the mooks, they just flat out pass out, because you are projecting that much of your willpower, your sense. So that's how we can visually see it in like one medium. And of course, there's other mediums that have it. Bleach with spiritual pressure, you just start like, you feel this gravitational thing like pressing you down, or you feel like somebody's thing. There's like lines showing and all that good stuff. It's there. In Mushoku Tensei, it's not there. The only like, well, it's not even battle aura, it's just a technique, Blade of Light. We see it. They show the black shade with the white outlines. Eris or the other users are really focusing in. They see that rainbow aura, and you see these stylized line drawings and lights. That's cool and all to see like the actual technique being shown and how it's presented, how it actually may feel. But how are you going to show off why Dragon God Ors just tanked the blow and only like some of his skin is scraped off?
I think on some level, how do I say this? If we cannot believe a martial feat that occurs, we should blame battle for it, right? And I think if I go by those rules for now, right, until there is a visual representation, I'll be like super convinced by it. But until then, dang dude, completely agree.
Yeah, long-winded explanation about battle order differences of that. Y'all can comment below if you agree, disagree. It's I'd say it's preference, but it's like a visual helping indication of how these martial characters are able to do these amazing physical feats. I believe that, somebody going super quick and fast, yes, they train their bodies enough to do so. But if we're tanking like a blow from a giant and like, yeah, I'm okay, without your sword breaking, I'm gonna need you to like show your work, please. Show me the steroids that you took. Show me the mage that buffed you up. Oh, they didn't? Okay, I'm gonna need you to go Super Saiyan for me, please. Show me your yellow aura so I can truly see that you're not BSing me.
The two things about that, I feel like we're Wizards of the Coast. The way we need proof from marshals, bro. We're just like, show us the proof, bro. Do marshals need anything? Nah, it's fine. And then the second thing is, I feel like we ticked off like an anime review bingo board by talking about One Piece in some ways.
Our watchers cannot have like a bingo board. Will they talk about another popular anime comparing it to Mushoku Tensei?
Guys, mark it off. That's going to be the free space. We're going to have bingo pretty soon by the end of the season.
No, the free space is will Soren be mad about the poly relationship that's going on with Rudeus, Sophie, and Roxy? That's the free space. You can go ahead and mark that off. It's going to happen.
You're right. It's true.
Speaking of the polyamorous couple, episode 4, King Class Water Mage. What a transition. So, the episode begins with Paul. Oh, actually, not with Paul. Paul's party that being Talhan, Geese, Elenice at his grave. And they're just talking amongst themselves, reminiscing. And then Rudeus and Roxy walks over and they talk to them. And they're just going back and forth, talking about things in the nature. And the party, that being Geese and Talhan, and a few of the others that were with them, but they're off screen because they've already left. They're going to be leaving since everything Rudeus and his family has calmed down. Elenice just drops that she's going to be getting married to Cliff. That's back in the previous season. And Geese gives Rudeus his and Paul's share, as well as some scales from the Hydra. And after that, a very simple intro plays out. We get to see. And then afterwards, when we get home, Zenith and Aisha, they're tending to the garden. And we can see that even in the state, Zenith still has that feeling of being the one overlooking the garden. It's nice. While Rudeus says she's slowly recovering, I think there's something more to that, or something different. But in any case, Aisha says that she has something that she wants to show to Rudeus later. Cool. Inside the house, Rudeus is just playing with Lucy for a bit with Lily in the back, and they're talking. And then a noise is heard from upstairs, and Rudeus goes to investigate. Goes into Aisha's room, doesn't find anything, but before he leaves, he sees that there's a plant that's moving, and it's called a treant. He brings Aisha forward and to explain herself, but Aisha doesn't know how it changed into a monster in the first place. And Rudeus wants Aisha to get rid of it for her sake and her safety, but Aisha pleads otherwise. And when she doesn't get her way, she pulls a card of, I'm gonna tell Roxy and Sylphie about the shrine that you got in your little secret room. And then comically, Roxy appears and Rudeus explains the situation about the tree. And Roxy's like, oh yeah, it's fine if you raise it right. It'll be okay with people. And Rudeus is like, I'm sorry, I was wrong. Then Aisha hugs Roxy afterwards. Nice. With Cliff, both of them are studying the Hydra scales. And through some experiments, they learn that it instantly breaks down things that are made of mana. Then there's a small moment where Rudeus wants to keep going. He feels like he's rushing. And he has this fear for his family being threatened by danger again. And he doesn't want to lose anyone again. Okay. Zenobia and Julie pop in. Zenobia has gotten into the inner workings of the doll, and he's found a large crystal. Okay. That's just set up. Julie made a rigid figurine on par with Rudeus. Nice. Things are just moving along. There's no real details or delving into these small little things. They're just, I don't want to say decorations, but they're more set up for other things that may come into play down the line. Next scene is Rudeus is just reflecting on his life, how he's fine. He's been studying the scales, getting the super story written. So the next step he has to deal with is Roxy. For some reason, there's a scene where Rudeus is just being forceful with Roxy, and the student council is gone. And when Sylphia appears, he gets a little bit jealous of what he's doing to Roxy, and Rudeus is like, hold on. I just want Roxy to teach me, and by you, and you also, Sylphie, king class water magic. So they ride out to a location to practice, and on the way, it's a bit similar to how way back in season 1, where Roxy took little Rudy outside of his house to see the whole Bruna village. When they reach the location, Roxy begins casting the magic. It starts off similar to the Cumulus spell that they casted in season 1, but it's drastically different. And then when Roxy finally casts the spell Lightning, Rudeus then comes up next to do it. And he does it on his first try, much like how he did back then when he was small. And afterwards, just like back then, he now goes up a tier. He is now a king class water mage. On the way back, Roxy just relates the experience back to how it was before when Rudeus was little, and how it stings that Rudeus is just this good and he just keeps improving. And Roxy's just glad to be a part of the family. And when Roxy says that, hey, Sylphie, I'm sorry for being an interloper, Sylphie's like, you're not an interloper. Sylphie just, again, disarms the situation and again reiterates, Roxy, I accept you into this. You're okay. You're fine. And internally, while Rudeus is in the back, seeing this all happen, he wants his actions to speak for his words, and he wants to protect them and his family. And the episode ends. I got nothing, man.
Alright, then sit back. Your boy is about to look at some small details. Okay, the living plant that comes about 7 minutes in, right? We see that Aisha had picked it back up out from the garden and taken it to her room, and suddenly it came to life. There's a sort of humorous moment where she says, "Oh, we gave it some bathwater," and Rudeus internally is like, "Oh my god, no wonder it came to life and grew gropey tentacles," right? That's not really the important part. It is funny, that's not important. What is important is how Aisha manages the situation, right? At first, when Rudeus is like, "Oh, let's just burn it. It's a monster and it could be dangerous," right? She first pleads, right? She pleads, and then when that gets rejected, she's like, "Wait, I've already been training it a little bit." And then she uses logic, right? And then he's just like, "No, still." And then at the end of it, she's like, "Okay, brother, if you don't let me have this plant, I'm gonna tell your wife that you've been keeping a shrine with her panties down in the basement." And I'm like, okay. And this is what I was getting at with Aisha way before in season 2. She has social guiles out the wazoo, right? And she knows exactly what she's doing. She is a threat and a half, right? I thought that was, of course, extremely hilarious. I love seeing it.
Don't let her and Princess Ariel be together in the same room.
Oh my god, those two would be lethal. They would be queens in like a week and a half, bro.
Aisha would be the deadliest noble to ever exist.
And then after that, I really did enjoy Rudeus's appellations to being more calm about his situation, right? Like he does have that weight of, "Oh, I need to become stronger," sort of mirroring Eris, right? In her journey, where she also learns to slow things down, not necessarily be so ingrained in the training and gaining strength that you lose sight of what you have in front of you, right? Which is both in A, the opportunity to grow as a person, and B, care for your wife while they're still there, right? So that I really appreciate. And then finally them going out and doing the King Water Class Mage training. As a person who plays a wizard in a D&D game, I very, very rarely think about recitations outside of maybe 1 or 2 big spells. I think it's going to be, oh god, I forgot what it's called. Crown of Stars and then Meteor Swarm. Those are the only 2 spells I'll do a recitation for. I went back to season 1 where Rudeus is learning the other King Water Class Mage spell, right? And I noticed this one, Saint? It was Saint?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Cumulus is a saint. That's how it became a saint.
So when he was learning Cumulus, right, I went back and I checked the recitation for that too. And sort of like out of Final Fantasy, where a leveled up ice spell would be like Blizzard, and then the next one would be Blizzaga, something like that, right? This one adds a whole second verse to that passage, and that allows him to create lightning, right? I thought that was just an awesome touch in general. I know all the spells were like that, but I think seeing it in this like sanctimonious faction, where it's like a ritual, really brought it to the forefront of my mind. And I think that's all the major notes I have for this episode. Just enjoying the world building a little bit more here.
Yeah, it is one thing that I do enjoy in some fantasy settings is how magic is done. If there's incantations, right? The bigger the spell, the more lines of incantation is said. And some incantations like tell out a grand story. Other incantations tell like how it's supposed to activate. And some incantations are just kind of wordy at best. But it does give off that air of, wow, this spell is really big. And of course, if you do an incantation list, then you're not going to get it. But things that require a bit of concentration and some that are like world building or ending or changing really do, like, I'm telling you a very short story of a novel of how I'm going to decimate your entire continent. Funny enough, oh god, I don't remember the anime. I have to look. I have to find it. But I do remember another anime to where when the characters need to do like some kind of incantation, each stanza that they do is the level of the spell. So
Zatch spell.
No, not that. I like where you're going with that. But I know in the first episode that you see, I think he does either 5 or 7 like stanzas, and quite literally he is drawing the words and the inscriptions in the air as he's casting the spell, while all of his allies are trying to like distract this big old monster. Unfortunately, the incantation is pretty much a very like, I am powering up my sword to do this one strike and that's it. But it is nice to see that, wow, this big old spell requires this many lines and verses in order to say. Also, for those of you who play the Stale series, indignation. Oh god, I do remember one off the top of my head because I play Tales of Symphonia, and when Genius says his, I forgot like the true beginning of it, but it is I call upon the land of the living, and you I call upon the land of the dead to unleash thy fury of thunder, indignation, something along the lines of that nature. Oh, dude, God, I'm sorry, I'm going off on this tangent.
Go for it, yeah.
When we did the first video, I did a short on when Roxy did the big Saint class cumulus spell, that I related that to Tales of Arise when the villain casts indignation, and unfortunately I can't show that video because of the fact that I think almost every single frame of Roxy casting that spell was copyrighted, so I can't really do anything of that. But it was there. I'll try to send it to you later. It's cool.
No, definitely, yo, YouTube, free us, bro.
It's okay. I'm not doing anything. I'm not taking anything. It's literally like less than 30 seconds, like even 20 seconds of a clip. It's funny. I know I did say I didn't have anything, but I'll do 2 things. One short, nice little small thing, and one other one where I might shoot Julie. But Zenith, once again, these small little moments that she's having, she's not saying anything, but I guess her instincts are helping her recover in a sense, or bring her memory back in line, which is nice to see. And for the Julie thing, JD, why does Julie matter anymore now? Is she just a background character that is just helping out with Zenobia? Will she ever have like a time in the spotlight again?
I'm gonna say, I believe her purpose in the story is complete, and I know we've said that about a bunch of characters and they end up coming back and then stuff happens, but I think Juliet was meant to mirror Rudeus just a little bit, right? Until she ended up, like Rudeus, getting a safe place to be, right? Comfort, loving family, things like that. I think for now, she's pretty much just godchild, right? If anything, to Rudeus. I don't think she'll have a major aspect in the story. I could make some stuff up as a dwarf enjoyer and be like, okay, the world is ending, you need a component. Juliet is one of the last people who knows this recipe, but she just so happens to already be on your side, so she has to like go do it. And since she's been training to make models, she can make you a life-size model very easily of that item that will then get imbued. But that's an extreme stretch on my part, you know what I mean?
In true fashion of us being good at evil, me being more evil, me being cynical, and me loving to play devil's advocate. Remember when we said how like that whole entire section of like finding the perfect slave to help out with the whole entire thing, and then we just find this one whole perfect slave to where we couldn't get her, and then Rudeus is like, yeah, I'm going to kill her anyway to help save her. And then Julie says, I don't want to die, and all the good stuff.
I remember that, yes.
What if I told you, or what if I can just be very like mean, cynical to say that we could literally have any kind of other random NPC to take Julie's place and serve the same purpose?
You mean narratively or functionally?
Yes.
And at what point would you say?
Both.
Ooh. I need some more. Like, where would she be replaced at? Like, you're saying anybody could be Julie?
Yes. We could make Julie to be any other race, any other gender, any kind of poor situation to being a slave, and they will functionally still be the same person. Narrative also the same way. You would take a slave who has like a terrible upbringing or a backstory of their family, one thing or another. They're in here. They have the perfect skill set for what Rudeus and them need. And of course, they've been through so much. It's like they just want to die. But when they get given a chance to go or to like live, it's just there. Because I really hate to say it and be like this cynical, but it almost feels like every other character that we've met that is entered Rudeus and we keep seeing constantly while we are here in this other continent are unique in and of itself in their situation, and they still actively contribute to Rudeus. Julie kind of isn't, and I do hear the arguments. I see the arguments to where Julie was that emotional recentering for Rudeus for when Nanahoshi went down, and Julie also being a child noticing Rudeus going down that spiral with Nanahoshi, like mirroring that depression. You could put any other child in that situation and be fine. That would be my counter. It might be a weak counter, but that notion is still there. For that other matter, Julie's learning how to do magic. Any character in this universe can learn magic. That has been established. Or there might be some other circumstances there, but everyone has the capability of learning magic to a degree. Because Julie's being taught at a younger age, any kid being taught at a young age could, again, do magic. The skill set for artisanal stuff, cool there. That's where I'm at with Julie. That's like the cynical, evil mind of me that's saying that. Otherwise, Julie's here, you know.
And to that I say, okay, Anne.
I know. That's like the best way you can say okay, and you know, Julie's here. Just let us have this little piece of like peacefulness and stuff. But the more that I see Julie not doing something, kind of bothers me. Like Linnea and Persona, while they're active in the story, they're doing things, they're helping out. Julie just exists, and it might just be the fact that Julie's a child and she can't do anything on her own, right? That could be it, and that's what I need to be at. But that's
that's definitely point one. Like, she's a minor. She like doesn't really have the agency to do like these more emotional beats like Nanahoshi, like Linnea Persona. She just doesn't have that. She's not within orbit of Rudeus, right? Like there's so many tiers of characters that are closer to Rudeus and can actually speak on these things over Julie, right? I think Julie's purpose has been served, and she is a perfect centering point for Zenoba right now, right? You know, with him being her adoptive father? Surrogate father? No, adoptive. Oh my god. And I don't mind that. Characters like that should exist and have peace in my heart. I'm glad Julie can exist, you know?
I just hate the fact that this anime and this story just makes the fact that every single character has a purpose. They're going to come back at some point. So I'm just waiting for Julie's time to shine. It just hasn't yet.
The crazy thing about it is that we'll both say this, and I'll be like, oh, it's fine if she doesn't do anything for the rest. And you'll be like, oh, I really want Julie's time to shine. Knowing Mushoku Tensei, like with every character that we've said is never going to come back and we're never going to see again. Bro, it might just happen. It might just, and we'll have to be like, bro, I can't believe I was wrong for the third time.
Oh yeah, let me stay on my cynical train. Rudeus is a king class water mage. Yeah, woo! Earth magic, baby.
Oh my god, get this man to the next episode.
I now get to now dunk on everything that Rudeus is. And I was like, hey Rudeus, you're a king class water mage. Why are you still throwing earth spikes?
Hey guys, mark your next point on the bingo, please. I think we got it.
Alright, but you know what? I shouldn't be this evil and cynical, man. We should be celebrating, right? Episode 5, celebrations.
Party!
What is going on? Hey! Oh, I'm sorry. So what's going on? Episode begins with Rudeus attempting to visit Cliff. But he doesn't see Cliff. He talks with Elenice for a bit. And to shorten this and to not really linger on this any longer. Elenice says like, hey, yo, you need help with Sophie and Roxy? I'm jealous of you. Oh, hold on. Let me restart this. He talks to Elenice for a bit, and they talk about their sexual lives. And Elenice is like, I want an aphrodisiac so that Cliff can like go wild on me on our first night when we have our wedding. And then she's like, you know what? I'm jealous of you. You get to have 2 people. And Rudeus is like, yeah, what? Never thought about that. I was like, oh, you never thought about a threesome? Oh, okay. Hey, if you need some help with Sylvie and Roxy, let me know. And yeah, so that is in the play. So the intro plays. It's a wedding. It's nice. The 2 say their vows. Elenice kisses Cliff on the forehead. It's cool. Everyone looks nice, by the way. I like these outfits for them. On the way back, Roxy sort of asks, in a very cutesy manner, like, shuffling herself. It's like she non-verbally asks for a kiss. She gets it. It's cute. It's a nice little girlfriend way. Then Sophie rolls up saying me too, and she does it. And then Rudeus has this like father/big brother moment with his sisters. It's nice. And there's Lilia. He realizes, oh, wait, my sisters. They haven't had their birthdays since they were 5 or 10. So he decides to throw them a surprise birthday party. And he takes Sophie and Roxy along in tow to help. And also he has a second objective here. So they shop around for things. It's good fun. Roxy looks at a hat. Nothing really comes of it yet. After that, Rudeus says like, yo, it's time for dinner. And then he leads both of his wives to a building. To which point, Roxy and Sophie remember they had a talk with Elenice about said building, about what Rudeus might want to do. Long and short of it, they go inside to have a threesome. Cool. The next day is I guess a day or 2 after, is the surprise party. And Rudeus needs to get both of his sisters out the house. He takes Roxy and his sisters along for fishing. All of them for the first time. Maybe not Roxy. And with this, there's another side objective of having Norn and Roxy to get along. So Rudeus moves off with Aisha, and Roxy and Norn have a little time together. It's nice. They have a beautiful bonding moment. And on Aisha and Rudeus' side, it's more of the comical side. And while Aisha is winning, Rudeus cheats using magic, showing off a more condensed lightning called electric. After that, on the way back, the sisters fight over Roxy. It's cute. They get home. They surprise the sisters. It's nice. It's beautiful at the table. Rudeus gives a nice heartwarming speech. Also the smile. And after that, the sisters get their presents. And they love their presents. It's clothes, and other people start to give their presents. Oh wait, hold on. Before they get their other presents, Norn shows off her present to Zena. And Zena smiles and pats her on the head. Lilia gives her gift to the sisters, and they're elated. And over to Roxy, both Sophie and Rudeus present a wedding present to Roxy, giving her the hat that she's been eyeing while shopping. And after that, Sophie makes Roxy cry with her words of encouragement. And it's all in one big happy family, and the episode ends. To say this, folks, episode 5 is my internal weakness. Not so much as I love it, so much as romance is not my strong suit. It is not my genre of choice. So when I see these cutesy moments, I don't gag. It's just, I'm here. That is all.
That's why I'm here, baby. Let's go. This is your classic slice of life moment, right? I don't think I've ever commented on this, but Rudeus is surrounded by women at all times, right? At all stages of life. So them going to the wedding and having that exploratory moment of, oh, Roxy really enjoyed that. I'll try and like make sure our wedding is pretty cool. And then Roxy confirming that, being like, oh, I don't need anything like too crazy, but yes, I would love to participate in the most beautiful sort of binding ceremony possible, right? My personal opinion, maybe different for all y'all. It's pretty normal, pretty cool. We see a little bit more of Sophie's quote unquote jealousy. I think she's really playing it up, right? Between her, Roxy, and Rudeus, right? Where she also asks for a head kiss, and then that head kiss is reciprocated across all of the women, save for Zenith and Lilia, who are, of course, much older than Rudeus and less playful.
And Norn.
No, Norn got one. She just wiped it off because she's a little
Did
not
she?
contrarian.
I thought she ran
but
away.
no, she got it. Rudeus snuck it. And that's cute too. Norn is she's too cool for her brother. I completely get it.
Something harem.
Oh, that's true.
You did say she was surrounded
you
by
cannot
women,
forget.
so it's like something
Yeah.
harem, something.
Slowly forming harem. Indeed.
Tasteful harem.
Let's see
We'll leave
here.
it at that.
Yeah, tasteful harem. We'll have 3 wives pretty soon. Oh god. Let's see. I think the real important part is just all of the people in Rudeus' house are building further bonds right now, right? And this is like, a massive part of adulthood, right? You want to have good relationships between your sisters, your brothers, your mother's friends, all that jazz, right? So Rudeus is going out of his way to both ensure the happiness of Aisha and Norn for their belated birthday party, right? And also setting up Norn and Roxy to become better friends is just classic, super important for them, and also incredibly fun to see, right? We could have like a really bitter, sort of angsty household between Sylphie, head wife, and Roxy, the second wife, right? But they forego all of that for this bonding instead, which I can personally appreciate, even if it's in some ways wish fulfillment.
Yeah. On Nora and Roxy, it is beautiful to see that Roxy really wants to have no bad blood with anybody in that family. So her taking upon herself to like truly try to build the bridge to Norn and to let it stay, it's nice. Because again, Norn did not approve of Roxy being a second wife and coming into the fold. But with this, instead of just being like, you gotta accept it, now Norn understands like Roxy's relationship to Rudeus and why Rudeus is enamored with Roxy. So now she can better accept that the fact and be okay with around Roxy to the point to where it's like Roxy is, I guess, a big sister to the point to where like Aisha, listen, Aisha and Norn like being childlike in this episode, it's so amazing. I like that, especially when they get their presents, immediately both of them rushing to like open it up like a child, and then they look at each other and realize, wait, we should be respectful, because they're also kind of nobles at the same time. And then after they just slowly open up their presents, like, come on, let them do it.
Oh, it's so cute, dude. Like, I love the gag where Rudeus was like, I am not about to lose in fishing to Aisha. And then he shocks the river to kill a lot of fish.
Bro,
and then all the girls at the fishing party were like, bro, Rudeus, you are so late. That's not very mature, dude. How can you do that?
Bro, it's crazy enough that he didn't like destroy the entire river or like the area around them with that spell. Okay.
No, it was
go ahead.
Interesting. I liked seeing how he has like a crazy understanding of magic. He just manipulated it, make it real condensed. I thought that was another cool foreshadowing thing. This guy can just edit spells, right? And I don't think I realized how important that is until right now.
All right, I'm gonna go off the rails for a bit. So remember when they changed Roxy's whole like thing in the second season, right? They changed it to like onboard new people, and it was like a detriment more than anything.
I kind of remember that.
Well, in the light novel, it was Rudeus who pulled Roxy instead of Roxy like taking full control, that sort of thing.
That thing.
Yeah,
I remember.
And I remember you saying something along the lines of, yeah, if you haven't scared off your audience already, why change things?
I did say that.
So, why didn't we get like a 5-second scene of them having a threesome?
Yo, this is biblical, girl.
Okay, guys, give me a moment, give me a pass. Cause listen. If in season 1 we see Paul and Ziv going at it time after time after time, we see a scene of Roxy having the time of her life outside that room. We see all of the bad stuff that Rudeus did to Ares when they were kids, and then we get to the point to where we see Rudeus and Ares have their fun time. Ares, and then Ares leaves them after that. We see Rudeus and Sarah going at it. We see Rudeus go wild with the aphrodisiac with Sophie. And speaking of, there are aphrodisiacs in play and it's being called upon. And then we see Roxy take full control on Rudeus. And then, of course, Elenice exists. Why stop there? I'm just saying, it didn't have to be long. We could have had just 3 to 5 seconds. I'm not asking for it. I'm just wondering, why didn't you anyways?
I do wonder. For my sake, how do I phrase this? I will not argue against your point. We have seen much worse on screen. So having a very loving moment between a polyamorous couple would be well in line with what we've seen and not scare anybody and possibly be very positive, right? But it is skipped out on, right? We don't get to see that. Nor the aftermath. We don't get any commentary from the other two about like what that was like, or even Rudeus about what that was like.
We see Sophie's blood on the bed.
We've seen so much worse, but we don't get to see the love.
We saw a chastity belt. I'm just saying, people.
I feel like everybody needs to take 1 point off their bingo. This is like a wild card.
Comment down below if you agree or not. I don't know.
Yeah, this was a great episode for bonding.
Yo, speaking of Sarah, by the way, episode 6.
Wait, who was talking about Sarah? Wait, what?
Hello.
Wait, yo, her face is right there. Smack down. Nah, bro, I thought she was gone. Mushoku Tensei, why?
Eric, Sarah's number 1 hater. JD. Episode 6. Another domestic disaster. Question mark? Episode begins with Rudeus playing with an older Lucy. She's got her little elf ears. And Suzanne is here? Huh. Well, we learned that Count Arrow just split after Rudeus and Sarah parted ways. And we learned that Sarah is still adventuring. And then Lilia and Zena come over, and Zena just has this look about her face while she's like holding on to Lucy's hand. And Lucy cries, and we find out, oh, she's hungry. Did Zena instinctively know that Lucy was hungry? We'll talk about that later. But in the intro, we found out that Roxy took up a job to guard the Princess of Renoa. The princess herself is doing a coming of age journey, a pilgrimage, and also Princess Ariel was coming along because she wants to know the Renoa princess. Okay, Princess Ariel about to do some like noble shenanigans. We see then 2 royals talking, that being Ariel and Renoa, the Princess of Renoa, and we get introduced to Dame Grace, a knight. And we also learned that adventurers are to be part of this protection guard, that being the party Amazon Ace. And outside the door, we hear like 2 members bickering, and one of them is Sarah. Hey! So then we flash jump to the journey itself, and the group is handling the ice bears that we see from season 2. And Roxy is being glazed by the Amazon Ace's magic. It's cute. Amazon Ace's mage, so I'm sorry. It's cute. And Sarah just kind of like rolls up to talk after one of the fights, but Rudeus then starts avoiding her. And then it comes to the point that everyone breaks down to eat, and Sarah is like giving Rudeus a look. And then eventually Ariel drums up a situation so that Sarah and Rudeus can go out alone, and so they can sort out whatever they need between each other. And as they walk, we get a montage of scenes as to where we hear what happened to Counter Arrow when they broke up. And we also learn of where Sarah went and how she got with Amazon Ace. And then when it comes to Rudeus to talk about his exploits, Rudeus is like, I'm kind of sorry. And Sarah says he isn't looking for an apology. And so we get to this point where Sarah sits on a log and Rudeus sits down next to her, and they begin to hash it out. They talk it out. We get to the point to where Sarah realizes who his wives are, and she opens up saying that she felt she herself needed to apologize. She thought she was the only one who was hurting at that time, and blamed it all on Rudeus. And she even like says like if she had been more of an adult, she would have realized that she hurted him too, and she finally said that she was sorry. And then Rudeus explains how he got his condition, and he gives a backstory on how about Eris and how he felt when Sarah came into the fold. And after talking out some more between the both of them, Sarah realizes that even when Rudeus had his condition, she realized that the reason that she couldn't get Rudeus, she realizes that she couldn't get Rudeus to fall for him, even if she could probably help with the condition. And afterwards, she stands up and she's chipper, and she tells Rudeus, "Treat me like an old comrade." So we flash cut to the gang taking out some monsters. Good stuff, action. And they reach the edge of town at the end of the pilgrimage. Everyone says their goodbyes, and Sarah drops the foreboding message, "Don't compare your wives." Speaking of, while Rudeus, Sophie, and Roxy walk back, Sophie inquires if it was best to leave Sarah that way. And Rudeus himself says, "I didn't like her at the time. I was naive back then." And then there is a seemingly comical moment of Rudeus saying that he likes girls that save him when he's in a bad place, which then prompts like the other two wives, Sophie and Roxy, that they are special to him. He then says that he will not be marrying any more wives, and he promises that. Unfortunately, Sophie says, "Hey, if you feel that someone else is special and that person feels like they are special to you, I wouldn't have a problem with like 2 or 3 people like that." There's a flash of Eris. And then Sophie says, "I can't wait to see what kind of girl you'll bring home next." Oh, by the way, speaking of Eris, hey, we get a little in the last few minutes of the episode. There is Eris, Nina, and Gino as they're sitting before Gal Farron. And Gal says he's going to choose the next sword king between the 3 of them. And he asks each of them, like, what separates like the saints, the kings, the emperors, and the gods of the martial swords. And after they get the explanations, it's settled that Nina and Eris will duel to see who becomes the sword king. The duel itself, only a few seconds, but both of them deal each other a blow. But when Nina deals her blow, it's off of Eris's arm. When Eris does hers, it's cut across Nina's stomach, and Nina received the heaviest blow, getting knocked back into the wall. Eris is now declared a sword saint. And the episode ends. JD.
Hey, what up, Pixo?
Okay, folks, so me and JD were talking about it before we started this episode. And let's get the elephant out of the room. Sophie. I do not trust this poly relationship that's going on. I do not believe that this whole thing will hold, especially when Eris eventually comes into the fold. Because why is Sophie being okay with everything? Why is she also accepting of everything? And me and JD were going back and forth about it, and I just kind of came to the conclusion that the questionings of things, because nothing is really concrete until we get to see more, but is Sophie just accepting everything that comes and just going the ways about it? Because Sophie has Rudeus, Sophie has a child, she's in a nice life, she's okay with it. And yeah, of course she says that Roxy also helped Rudeus and like she's fine with it, but is she truly fine with it? Because now we are getting these moments to where when Roxy is getting like these like little pet names or these little shows of admiration, Sophie then just comes up and come behind like, "Hey, what about me?" And then Rudeus gives it. So is Sophie, and Sophie does mention that she was jealous a couple of times. So now is this really the jealousy coming in? Of course, Sophie was the first wife, and I believe you said it, JD, and I guess a couple of you others in the comments have also said it, that Sophie is the head wife. She is the first. She is the one with the child. So if Sophie leaves, God forbid she does, what's gonna happen to everything? Everything kind of falls apart. Sophie is kind of like the glue keeping everything in because that she is so accepting. Is it because of the fact that she wants to keep the family together, or is it because that she knows that this whole thing exists because of her? And so I don't know if that she's just helping Rudeus, and because that Rudeus is who he is, that it doesn't matter how many people that Rudeus finds special, she'll be okay with it. Because at some point, too many is too many. And again, this is the second foreboding message that we have about having multiple people in lives. Cliff said, be careful about having too many spouses. Sarah says, don't compare your wives. The universe is saying something here. Something has to give. Maybe not now, but later on down the line, something terrible is going to happen to this. I just don't trust anything that's going on.
And on some levels, I have to completely agree with you. I think Sylphie lays it on thick and always has laid it on thick. I don't know if I've said it on the channel specifically or which episodes I may have said it, but Sylphie feels almost like the voice of the author, right? Sometimes with her acceptance of these lecherous traits that Rudeus exhibits, right? I do think, after hearing what you're saying here now, and after reviewing what Sylphie says specifically, I think there's an understanding that Sylphie wouldn't be where she is without Rudeus, and desires being next to Rudeus over all other things, right? At the end of Celebration, she said something along the lines of, I don't think I would really be here if it were not for Rudeus, right? Or alive, I mean. Not just here, but alive, right? And it's the same for Roxy to Rudeus, right? Because Rudeus saved them, and then those two, in turn, saved Rudeus, right? There's a savior triangle between the three of them, right? Sylphie at the end of episode 6, and I think throughout all of this, she does harbor some jealousy over Roxy being around, right? And coveting Rudeus, who was pretty much just hers for the longest. But now I feel like she's taking a pride in it, where she says, hey, I completely understand it now. I won't accept just anybody in this relationship. I will draw a line if you bring home some random person. They better be on the same level as me or Roxy, or I'm going to be mad, right? And I think that's where she is right now. She wants to be with, like, Rudeus more than anything, but she won't accept, like, a certain... I almost said certain caliber. She won't accept anything but a certain caliber of person to be beside Rudeus, along with her.
The craziest thing is, would Eris even be in it? I want to say no. I hope that if this does come to a point to where Rudeus is like, hey, Eris, do you want to be my third wife? I hope Eris says no.
That's a heavy blow, dude. I think when and if, let's be real, when, because the narrative is painting it really, really thick right now. Even Rudeus at the end says, okay, I may break that promise, actually, when he says, I will only have you two as wives from now on, right? I think it really will depend on how they re-meet, Eris and Rudeus, and maybe one more life-altering encounter between those two and whatever final threat comes along for season 3. I think you're right in that Eris probably does have a lot of pride and be like, what do you mean you have 2 wives already? Get rid of them, right? And honestly, I think that would be hilarious. I would love to see that. But I think we're swinging on the end of positive outcomes for most of these marriage arrangements.
Yeah, I'm just waiting for something to challenge them and break it. It might be Eris, it might be something else. I just, like I said, I don't trust it. If anything, they are way too happy and comfy with each other that it feels unnatural. I'm watching anime anyway, but it just, oh no, man.
Bro's trying to make this seem like too hot to handle. We need some conflict in here.
Well, yes. Yes. I mean,
man, it's too happy in here.
It's true. I mean, Sarah could have been a conflict, but that was handled nicely. Which then we can now talk about this. It's funny that both of them were, they were like, no, they were still like teenagers to the point at that time. But now that both of them are like full-fledged adults that go around, they've seen things, they've experienced other things. that now when they come together to talk about the past of what happened, both of them have grown up to the point to where, yeah, that was that. I'm sorry I acted this way. Is just, yeah. And they were to come together. It's like two people that have burned each other and they've had that like chance to like get together, and then but both of them have went through different paths of like understanding the world and understanding themselves and how they acted and how they were. And I'm pretty sure Sarah was still thinking about it, and as she explained, she was thinking about it to where she felt like she should have apologized and she hurted him, and then she was probably looking for a chance to apologize at some point. And now that they had that chance, it's good. And dear God, Sarah was the one who wanted to initiate the entire thing while Rudeus was running away. And then, hey, Ariel, the master manipulator, just to be like, oh, I would like this fruit that's all the way over there that it might be dangerous to go get to. And then Sarah's like, yeah, I'll go get it. And it's like, oh, I don't want you to go by yourself. Fitz, Rudeus, go with her. And then Sylphie Fitz, not understanding, like, oh, yeah, hey, Rudeus, you're good by yourself. Go. And then Rudeus going like, wait, why? Oh, yeah, I've been running away. Let me go. So the whole Ariel is like, Rudeus, stop running away from your problems. Get in there.
No, for real. Sylphie was so tough for that. She's talking to her boss, by the way. She was just like, no, I think he's got it. He's not a pussy. Which I think Sarah handled this with about as much grace as you could expect, right? I love the frame right before they get interrupted to cook. Sarah's not charging. She's walking very directly towards you, Rudeus, and you made eye contact. This is not a Pokemon battle, but you still have to engage, brother. And I think that would drive me crazy too as a person. Like, if I had a fling or a flame with you for a long time, not a long time, like a long time ago, and you treat me like a complete stranger or like avoid me while we're directly in front of each other, I would be furious. I would be really mad.
Yeah, I know we had our transgressions, but hey, I wanna talk it out here. I don't want this hanging over. I don't want this hanging over our head while we're like fighting for our lives here.
Yeah, man, I want to be normal people, to be honest. At least say hi, do something, man.
Yeah. Last two things for me. Zenith. They keep showing Zenith and her motherly instincts like driving her and taking her. I think it's like one of the best things out of season 3 is knowing that no matter how far gone your mind is, things that you practice over the years before you got to that point still take over, and you just know.
No, it's so cool. I wonder what they're gonna do with Zenith as a character, right? They're clearly building to something, right? I don't really believe that she's fully autopilot. I think she is being cured, like Rudeus said.
And last thing, way beginning of the episode, I won't say no, it did bum me out that Sujan was just there, and we did not have any kind of build up to the point.
No, I had to check my eyes like twice, and I was wondering like, oh, I guess there wasn't really like any sort of build up to that. She was just there, right? And she said she was the wet wife.
I don't remember. That beginning was just so foregone for me. Like the only thing that I can like that we can say that really like salvages a bit is the fact that a lot of time has passed from, I guess, the end of episode 5 to 6. I don't know how many years, but time has passed because we see Lucy that she's a bit bigger and her elf ears have shown up. So yeah.
No, it's definitely. I actually don't mind it too much, like this sort of intro, right? It's very violent, but it's very good at getting the ball rolling because after episode 5, we don't really have a continuing mark to go off of, right? Episode 5 felt like a mini-series finale, where it's like everything's all good and things are all blue skies and cheery and stuff like that. There wasn't really room to introduce anything without it being sort of like an arc reset or something like that.
And that's the kind of thing with season 3 at this point, right? As one of you did point out, and I keep saying, it is slow. And I guess it is to this point to where we just need to establish a bunch of things here in the beginning. Like Rudeus is like normal life that he's treasuring, and we get to see it, we get to go through. and all of these moments that we can finally tie a knot around. We get to finish our story with Counter Arrow, and we know where they are at this point. We finish with Sarah, so we can like exile her from the story from this point on, and we get to know that Cliff and Elenice, they're married now. Cool. And going back even further, Zenoba is making even more progress on the doll. He's gotten into it, and he's found a crystal. Cool there. The only thing left that we're still looking for is Nanahoshi's sickness and Linnea and Persena dueling to find their mate.
Big dreams, yeah. I think the only other thing I wanted to point out about this episode specifically, and this is tucked in the last 3 minutes, right? And I'm not sure whether I should appreciate the brevity or if I should feel, no. I should accept that it's like good transitionary material, right? The sequence where Gal is asking the 3 apprentices what makes a swordsman different from another in rank, right? I think Arki is the one who said it. Gino and Nina are both supposed to be way more talented than Eris at a base level, but she has crazy experience over them, right? I think I laughed at Gino's answer being their weapons because, of course, Gao would never admit it. He has a crazy sword on it right now, right? I thought that was hilarious. And then Eris's answer, she says resolve, and Gal is like, resolve, that ain't it, bruh. And Eris is just like, what do you mean? No, you're wrong. It actually is resolve. Just before she wins the duel. It was so Eris. It was amazing in that moment.
Yeah, and he said, what, you don't care if someone else becomes a sword saint? And she's like, I don't care. I was like, you know what, Eris? That's it. You got it. Who cares about rankings? I mean, she's living proof, like, who cares about rankings? Like, Eris was literally had no rank. She mollywopped Gino. She mollywopped Nina. And she continues to mollywop Nina. And then eventually, when she learns her Blade of Light, and she can go toe-to-toe with emperors, like, who cares about ranks?
Yeah, man. No ranks, just straight cashing bodies. I can fight these people, right? In any school, it doesn't matter. If you call me a sword god, that's cool. I'm still gonna body you at the end of the day.
Alright, I got nothing else here.
No, solid set of episodes. Can't wait for a Eris-centered one in the next one, since that's what the ending is telling us.
It could be, we'll see what's going on. Yeah, comment down below anything you guys want to touch upon, clarify from the light novel. We are getting there. Oh, by the way, Arki, I did look back at that chapter. I'm gonna give it another look over. It is very interesting to see, like, to read about the history of the world beforehand. And I'll drop this little thing. All of you remembered in season 2, episode 19, to where Rudeus and Elenice went to dispel the seal on the teleporter thing, and you read the entire incantation to break it. They mentioned the Holy Dragon Emperor Sharad. Well, if you go all the way back to the light novel and you read about the beginning of the world, there was a dragon god and there were 5 generals, and one of them was the Dragon Emperor. Well then, we have stumbled upon a little bit of history here, and it's nice to see.
No, it's definitely cool how these things are sort of weaved together, right? And how they're gonna like pay off later. I love that there's so many roots to these things, right? That you just don't get to see, that make so much more sense when you read it in the chapters.
For real. But with all of that being said, y'all, hope all of you have a good day, night, evening, morning, wherever you are in the world. And I hope your day is just a little bit better than it already is. With that, we will catch y'all in the next episode. Peace.
See y'all later.